Hello there. I am going to read you a story today about big trees. Now, I notice in this book there are real pictures, and we're going to be talking about different animals that use trees and how people can use trees as well. We might see some things that remind us of this book that we read the other day, Life in a City. This book takes place in a big city, and we still see things like animals and trees. But this story today that I'm going to read is about big trees that you find outside and how animals can use those trees and us. This story is written by Carrie Cornell. She not only wrote the words, because she's the author, but she's also the illustrator of this book. And she didn't paint the pictures. She took the pictures with a camera. Many big trees grow in my neighborhood. On a hot, sunny day, I can stand under them to cool off. The leaves and the branches on the trees block the sun, and they shade my yard. So the bigger the tree, the more shade there will be. On a hot, hot day, it's good to have some shade. Ooh, I like the picture of this tree. It reminds me of the season that we're in right now, fall. The leaves change colors. In the fall, the leaves on these trees change color. They turn orange, yellow, red, or sometimes brown. Look at what she's doing. She is throwing the leaves in the air. She has a big smile on her face, too. Soon the colorful leaves fall to the ground. That's maybe why we call it fall. Do you know the other word for fall? Autumn. Yep. We most of the time call it fall, but it can also be called autumn. Here's it zoomed up. Look at all those pretty leaves right there. Aren't they pretty? All different colors. We use a rake. Have you ever raked leaves before? It's hard work. We use a rake to sweep the leaves into a big pile. Have you ever jumped in a pile of leaves? That's fun too. I like to jump in the leaves and run through them. If the leaves stay on the ground, they break down. Broken down leaves are called mulch. Can you say that word, mulch? Mulch. Mulch is broken down leaves. Mulch helps keep the soil moist. After a while, the leaves become part of the soil again. That's kind of cool. Actually, probably helps things grow too. Ooh, what season do you think this is? All the leaves are gone. And there's snow. Ooh. In the winter, these same trees look quite different. They have lost their leaves and are often covered in snow. Without the leaves, I can see all the branches on the trees. Before, with all those leaves, you probably couldn't. Oh, it's a new season now. What animal is that? You know, it's a bird. It's a robin. It's actually our state bird in Michigan, is the robin. In the spring, the ground thaws, which means it's no longer frozen. And the soil is damp, so not quite wet, but just a little bit wet. It's called damp. Birds look for worms. They look for them in the soil around the trees. Birds eat the worms. Oh, here's an example of how birds use trees. Think about what they did in this tree. You're right, they made a nest, and they have their babies that they're feeding the worms to, because the baby birds can't get their own food yet, so their mama has to help them. The birds save some of the worms and carry them back to their nests. Baby birds are there waiting for the food. They are hungry. The birds feed the worms to their babies. So birds use trees. We use trees too. How do we use trees again? Yeah, we use it for shade. Birds use them for nests. Ooh, we talked about these insects in our story, Life in the City. Do you remember what they're called? Oh, you're right. They're ants. Look at these are even a little different ants. These are brown colored and these are black colored. And guess what? Ants use trees too. Many other creatures live around trees. Ants crawl up and down tree trunks looking for food. Ever looked close on a tree before? Here is the tree bark. If you look at it closely on a tree, sometimes you will see ants crawling up. Look at the other animals that use trees. What do you think those are? Yeah? Spider, because I see a spider web. I think spider webs, I don't like spiders, but I think spider webs are pretty cool. Sometimes spiders live in trees. A spider spun a silky web in the branches of this tree. Spiders use their webs to catch insects for their food. So spiders eat insects, so they create this spider web. It's kind of cool. It's all in different patterns. And then the insects fly into it and get stuck. Then the spider walks over and eats it. Ooh, look at that animal. What does this animal eat? Yup, acorns. This is a squirrel. He likes to eat acorns. Look at this squirrel's nest. Does it look different than a bird's nest? It sure does. Other animals live in trees too. Some squirrels, not all squirrels, but some squirrels, it says, makes nests high in the branch of a fall tree. Tall tree, not fall tree, tall tree. Some squirrels may live in holes in a tree trunk. Other builds their nests out of twigs and leaves. See, there's that squirrel again, eating that nut called an acorn. Acorns are nuts that fall from oak trees in the late summer. Squirrels gather their acorns for food. They take them back to their nests. Sometimes squirrels bury their nuts and dig them up later. Ooh, I see this page with kids. Looks like they're under a tree, maybe getting shade. I like to lean against a tree trunk and read. Sometimes I just sit and watch the birds. Or I count the ants as they march up the tree. Under this tree is one of my favorite places to be. And look at how big that tree is right there. So this is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about who uses trees. Yep, animals and people. What kind of animals, though, use trees? If we can't remember, we can always take a quick picture walk and look at the pictures to know that birds use trees, ants use trees, spiders use trees, squirrels use trees, and of course people use trees too. It's one of our natural resources. Lots of people use it. That's kind of cool. I like to have those in our environment. Have a great day.